Hey everyone, so I thought I'd come on here and talk about some popular manipulative behaviours that you may have heard about before, which is love bombing and breadcrumbing. Those are the two topics I'm going to be speaking about today. And I'm speaking about them so that you'll be able to protect yourself and so that you'll be able to differentiate from genuine affection and love and manipulative behaviours. I'm going to start by defining love bombing first and foremost. So love bombing is basically someone giving you everything you could have ever wished for. It's excessive compliments, excessive affection, attention. It's telling you things like, I've never met anyone like you before, you're my soulmate, you're my twin flame. Everything that you could have ever wished that you could hear. It usually entails grand gestures, grand displays of affection and all these kind of things. It's almost like what you see in movies. The type of love that you see in movies, that's what love bombing is. It's making you feel special, it's making you feel desired, it's making you feel like you're the only person in the world. That's how the love bomber makes you feel when you're in this type of relationship. And one of the key things to remember as well, or one of the key things that are quite specific with love bombing, is that it normally happens very early on in the relationship or the connection. So after hearing that beautiful explanation, you might be thinking, well, what's wrong with that? That sounds amazing. Who doesn't want to feel like that, right? But the thing is, it's a manipulative tactic, and it's manipulative because it is done to intensify the connection. It's done as a means of control, and it's also done to cover up insecurities. So as good as all of the perks sound, it is important to remember that it is insincere, and at the root of it, the person is trying to seek validation of some sort and get you to connect with them very quickly in order to overlook their insecurities, maybe their inadequacies, and the things that they probably deem not relationship worthy. So moving on to breadcrumbing. Breadcrumbing is almost the opposite. It's giving someone sporadic, inconsistent, intermittent attention and affection and communication. So it's almost like pulling back, and what normally happens is you experience being love bombed, and then after a certain point, it's no longer possible for the love bomber to maintain that level of consistency. And so they switch it up to breadcrumbing. Like I was saying, breadcrumbing is, if you think about dropping little trails of bread for someone to kind of follow you along, what it basically does is it hooks you in and it sets you up for false hope. You know when you're hungry and you have something really small and it's still able to fill you up because you were so hungry? It's almost like it's treasured even more because it's inconsistent. Because you don't always get it, you hold on to it so much more. So whether that is messages, whether that's compliments, saying I love you, maybe even liking your posts and your pictures on social media, because you don't receive it all the time, when you do get it, it becomes so much more significant and so much more important to you. And it's done, once again, as a manipulative tactic to get you on a hook, to get you exactly where they want you to be and to reel you in with false hopes. And it's basically like giving you the bare minimum, the lowest amount of investment and commitment. So it's giving you just enough for you to hold on, just enough to kind of satisfy you and to keep you on that hook, so that you wouldn't be able to say you're never there, or you never do this, or you never do that, because there will always be that one time that they paid you a really nice compliment, or that one time they took you out, that one time they liked your post on social media, or they introduced you to a friend. There'll always be that one little thing that will make you not be able to say that this person hasn't given anything. And that's basically what it's there for. And it creates a lot of confusion, especially when you've previously experienced the love bombing process. So what normally happens is you'll get love bombed, and then you'll go through a period of devaluing, and then you'll be breadcrumbed. So it's almost like you're depromoted? Depromoted? Is depromoted a word? It's unclear, but Basically, you're taken off the pedestal. So where you were receiving everything you wanted to receive, you were getting those phone calls, you were getting the good morning texts, you were invited out, you were going on dates, you were given nice gifts and these grand displays of affection. Where you experienced that before, it's almost ripped away from you. So it's ripped away from you and you're given little tiny speckles of what you had before, you know, an inch of what you were experiencing in the early parts of the relationship. So now we have a clear understanding of love bombing and breadcrumbing. Here are some of the similarities. So even though they sound like opposites, there are still some similarities with these two things. So for one, they both exploit your emotions and your vulnerabilities. It's someone playing with your heart and your emotions in order to affect and take control of how you feel. So where you might be genuine with the things that you're saying, and where a lot of us are looking for that level of love and validation and appreciation, just when you think you found it, just when you think, oh, finally someone gets me, finally I'm getting the love that I deserve, it's taken away. And it's done in an insincere way, and it's manipulative. The second thing it does is damage your self-worth and your self-esteem. A lot of the times after you've been through the love bombing phase and you're now being breadcrumbed, you start to wonder and ruminate over what could have went wrong. Was it me? Did I do something wrong? Do I now need to try to prove my love? Have they found somebody else? And all of these thoughts going on in your head and all the emotions that come up with that, it's a lot to deal with, especially when you've thought that you've received the best kind of love that you've been looking for the longest time or forever. So breadcrumbing is similar to being with an avoidant, someone who has an avoidant attachment style. And normally when someone has an avoidant attachment style, it causes you to be anxious. So even if you do have quite a secure attachment style, you're liable to be anxious when dealing with someone who's breadcrumbing you, because now you're almost trying to fill in the gaps of what went wrong, what happened, why has this person's behavior changed, why do I not feel loved and adored and desired anymore like I did in the beginning phase. And here's the thing, if you bring it up and you mention something's changed here, is everything okay, what's going on, the minute you point out what's happening, you're very likely to be gaslit. You're very likely to be told, oh, I don't know what you mean, everything's still the same, I still feel the same, nothing's changed, I'm just busy with work. You're likely to hear a lot of excuses and to be made to feel like your experience isn't real and you're the one being ridiculous. Another commonality between love bombing and breadcrumbing is that it affects your ability to trust in future relationships. Because after going through this experience, it makes you wonder why you didn't see the signs in the beginning. How did you miss the red flags? How did you not see what was happening? How did you not realize that this wasn't genuine love and that someone shouldn't be trying to propose to you after 1 month of knowing you? How did you not realize? And here's the thing, it's so easy for anybody to fall for this trick because it's a human need to be loved, to be valued, to be wanted. It's something that we all want. So when you are finally presented with the opportunity of getting it, it feels right because it's what you've been looking for. So let's talk about how we can protect ourselves, how we can differentiate from being love bombed, being breadcrumbed, and receiving more genuine love and affection that we're looking for. The first thing would be consistency. The key point with love bombing is that it's not consistent. These grand displays of love and affection and communication, they are not seen over a period of time. They are done in the early parts of a relationship or a connection, and they don't stand the test of time. So what you want to look for is consistency, a consistent, steady display of love and affection. And you can only see that over time. Another thing you want to look out for is, does this person respect my boundaries? When you put your boundaries in place, when you address your needs and your values and all these kinds of things, do they respect them? Because here's the thing, if someone is out to manipulate you, they're not going to respect your boundaries. They're going to want to override everything you say and everything you want in the relationship in order to fulfill their needs. In order to make sure that their needs are met, they're not going to be able to respect your boundaries. They're not going to value you enough to respect your boundaries. So when you say things like, I don't want to rush into a relationship, I don't want to have sex too early on in my relationship, I'm not ready to move in together, I'm not ready to meet your parents or meet your family. When you say those types of things, are they respectful of what you want? Are they respectful of what you need to do and what's important for you in protecting yourself going into a relationship? Or do they push for you to do things their ways? Do they push for you to commit really early on in a relationship? Do they push for you to have sex early on in a relationship when you're not comfortable to do so and when you've expressed that you're not comfortable with those things? Another thing you want to look out for is healthy communication. So because we now know that these tactics are in place to cover up their insecurities and their inadequacies in going into the relationship, it's going to be difficult for them to have really healthy, open communication. Do they talk about their past experiences in relationships? Do they talk about hurtful things they've been through? Do they discuss maybe things they've been through in their childhood or earlier relationships? Are they able to open up and show you a very vulnerable side to them? Because here's the thing, how are you so crazy, madly in love with someone? How are you ready to spend the rest of your life with someone, which is what the love bomber is telling you, if they're not ready to share parts of themselves that maybe they don't share with people outside of the relationship? How do the two coexist? And that's how you're able to tell whether someone is being manipulative and has ulterior motives, or whether this is genuine love and affection. Are they able to communicate with you, and are they honest, and are they open? And also, are you able to speak to them? Are you able to address your concerns, and are you met with a level of understanding and empathy when you speak about what you're experiencing, or when you speak about things in the past? Like I was saying before, when you speak about how things have changed after being love bombed and leading on to being breadcrumbed, you're normally gaslit. You're normally told that, you know, you're silly, you're not making any sense, you're confused, nothing's changed. Sometimes it's flipped on you and they say you're the one that's insecure. You're the one that's projecting onto them and making these claims about the relationship that are not true. Is it received when you address how you're feeling, when you address that you've been hurt, or you're unsure, or you're not ready to do something? Are you met with gentleness, with kindness, with understanding? Do you feel safe to speak? Do you feel safe to address your concerns in the relationship? Another way that you can protect yourself is seeing if their actions and their words align. It's so easy to say, I love you, to say, I miss you, I want to be with you forever, you're my soulmate, you're my twin flame, I've never met anybody like you, you're the most beautiful woman or kindest man I've ever met before in my life. It's so easy to say these things. It's so easy to send a good morning text every single morning. It's so easy to like pictures on Instagram. All of those things are so easy to do, and they require very little investment or commitment. But do the actions align? Are they there for you emotionally? Do they support you? Are they willing to inconvenience themselves for you to help you out if you need it? Do they stick to their word? If they say they're going to do something, do they do it? Or are they always letting you down? Are they always making plans and then flopping them at the last minute? So finishing up here, one of the things you want to remember as well is to trust your instincts. If something doesn't feel right, if something feels a bit off, if it's feeling really rushed, you want to trust your instincts. You also want to make sure you have your boundaries in place. You have your limits, you have a clear idea of what you're looking for, how you want the relationship to look. And that of course goes for both people in the relationship. Sometimes we get into relationships, one person wants to live together, the other person is not ready. One person wants to have children, the other person doesn't. And even though sometimes we try to make it work in these situations, there are fundamental things that are going to make it really difficult, if not impossible, to sustain a relationship. So you have to be sure that you are compatible with this person and that you're aligned on the things that you want out of life and within the relationship. In the love bombing phase, you want to think about whether this is too good to be true. Sometimes when things seem too good to be true, they really are just too good to be true. The reason why love bombing mirrors Disney movies or, just romantic movies in general is because a real genuine connection and relationship cannot be displayed in an hour-long movie. So everything is naturally sped up in order to fit into the length of the movie. But real life, things don't happen that quickly. You very rarely make those types of commitments so early on in the relationship. Something that's going to really help you to hopefully not fall for these manipulative traps is to maintain your life when you get into a relationship or when you meet someone. Keep on doing your hobbies, stay connecting with your friends, go out with your friends, do the things that you were normally doing, go to the gym, keep up with your activities and your lifestyle so as not to completely get sucked into this relationship and to lose yourself in the process. When you don't have much going on in your own life, it's so much easier to get sucked into someone, to become obsessive about them, and to cling on to their every word, and for them to basically become your world. That's an unsafe position to be in, especially if you're dealing with someone who is manipulative and who is hiding behind these displays of affection and attention. The process of being love bombed and breadcrumbed is emotionally damaging enough that if you don't have your own life and you don't have a support system and you don't have your hobbies and your career, that you're more likely to suffer the consequences when things go bad, which inevitably they will, because these tactics are not in place to maintain a healthy, long-lasting relationship. So when this relationship does crumble, it's going to be important for you to still have your life, your friends, your career, your lifestyle, all the things that make you happy outside of the relationship. It's going to be really important for you to have those still. And it's often our friends and family members, the people closest to us, that are able to see the red flags in the relationship. Because when we're caught up in this whirlwind of love and affection and all the niceties of the relationship, it's hard for us to see. We're wearing these rose-colored glasses. Love is Blind is a typical way of depicting the fact that sometimes when we get into relationships and we love someone and we're forming these attachments with people, it's hard for us to really see what's going on because we're swept up in all of these emotions and all of the hormones that are going off in our body as well when we are in love and when we finally feel like we've met someone that sees us and appreciates us for who we are. So the last thing you want to do is drop them as soon as you get into a relationship or as soon as you meet someone that you think you're in love with. And lastly, I wouldn't be a true therapist if I didn't recommend therapy. So oftentimes our friends and our family are not enough for us to really talk about the things that we have experienced or the things we're going through. So that's where therapy comes in. That's where speaking to mental health professionals in order to gain some insight, in order to express your feelings and your emotions, see other perspectives, not just the fact that you're in love and you finally met the person that you've been dreaming of all these years, and get you to maybe unpack some of the reasons why you fell so early, why you may have been a victim to this, and how you can move forward and form healthier connections in the future. So I'm going to leave this video here for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you do have any questions or comments, be sure to leave them down below and I will respond to any of them. But for now, I will see you in the next one.